They believed humanity would talk, not unleash its top war fleet across the galaxy. The council chamber was enormous, a floating structure that hovered above the neutral system of Varley's. Light from distant stars seeped through the transparent walls, casting long streaks across the polished floors. Delegates from dozens of species filled the room, their shapes and colors strange to human eyes. Some had scales that shimmered like liquid metal, others had multiple eyes that blinked independently. All of them sat in quiet expectation. None noticed the humans arriving at the far end of the chamber, calm and silent, like any other species in appearance, but holding secrets the galaxy could not guess. Jake Carter stepped lightly onto the floor. He was tall, with short brown hair and eyes that seemed to miss nothing. He wore a simple gray suit, nothing fancy, nothing threatening. Around him, human envoys whispered to one another, nodding slightly. The humans had been invited as observers in what the council called a final deliberation, but Jake knew better. The council had already decided. Earth was to be punished for speaking out in defense of a trade border on the edge of the Sol system. Other species had accused humans of arrogance, of breaking agreements, of being dangerous. Most of the delegates believed humans would plead, beg, or at least negotiate quietly. The chairman of the council, a tall, four-limbed being with smooth, purple skin, called the session to order. The case of Earth has been presented. The council has heard the evidence. A vote will now be taken. Its voice resonated in the chamber, deep and musical, vibrating slightly in the humans' chests. Jake's gaze did not waver. He had seen this process many times on screens and in simulations. The outcome was already written. The council voted quickly. One by one, species rose, their representatives casting their votes. A whisper of approval spread among them as the final tally was announced. Earth is hereby exiled from all galactic trade routes. No species may offer aid, no system may engage Earth without council approval. The humans nodded politely. They did not argue, they did not shout, they did not make threats. From the outside, it looked as if they accepted the punishment. Other delegates smirked, certain that they had won. Jake Carter bowed his head slightly and motioned to the other human envoys to leave. Outside the chamber, the humans gathered in a secure room. The silence there was different. It was not the polite calm that the council saw. It was the calm of planning, the calm of controlled power. Ben Holloway, the chief military strategist of Earth, stood in the center of the room. His hair was streaked with gray and his eyes were sharp. He looked over maps of nearby systems and holograms of human fleet formations. "They think we will complain," he said softly. "They think we will write letters, make speeches, or beg them for mercy. They have no idea." Aaron Cole, commander of the human fleet, nodded. He was younger than Ben, but his face carried a seriousness that seemed older than his years. "They believe in their own rules," he said. "They believe that civilization cannot act without permission. They believe humans will obey." He tapped on a console and a star map filled the room. Tiny dots blinked where human fleets waited in secret positions, far beyond what the council had ever mapped. "We will show them a different kind of obedience," he said. The humans on Earth had spent decades preparing for moments like this. While the council debated and judged, humans had built shipyards hidden in remote systems, constructed fleets designed for speed, efficiency, and overwhelming power. They had trained crews for years in simulations that copied every known alien tactic. And most important, they had learned patience. They waited for the moment when appearances could deceive, when silence could be a weapon, when others, arrogance could be used against them. Meanwhile, on the neutral planet of Loras, other delegates went about their lives as if nothing had changed. Alien ambassadors talked, debated, and gossiped, confident that humans would act in predictable ways. Some discussed how to divide trade routes among themselves now that Earth was out. Others laughed at humans, imagining them isolated, powerless, and submissive. They did not know that humans watched, analyzed, and waited. Back on Earth, civilians were unaware of what was about to unfold. Life continued in its ordinary ways. Children went to school, families celebrated birthdays, and cities glowed with the familiar rhythm of human activity. Only a few people knew the truth, the ones who built, commanded, and planned. They worked in silence, ensuring that when the time came, humanity's strength would be undeniable. In orbit above Earth, Aaron Cole and his officers moved among the massive hangars of the fleet. Ships of every size stood ready, gleaming under artificial lights. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, faster than any vessel in the known galaxy, armed with weapons that combined precision with restraint. Crew members trained tirelessly, running drills that simulated attacks from dozens of alien navies. They learned to anticipate, to respond instantly, and to never underestimate the enemy. Aaron walked among them, observing the preparations. He stopped in front of a large destroyer. Its hull was polished, its engines silent, and yet there was a tension in the air, a quiet hum that spoke of power ready to move at a moment's notice. "Remember," he said to a young officer, "we are not here to destroy everything. We are here to show that humanity will not be taken lightly. Discipline, strategy, restraint, that is how we win." Across the galaxy, the first hints of human movement began to appear. Scouts and automated probes slipped past patrols, invisible to the systems that believed they were secure. Reports of minor anomalies arrived at council offices, ships disappearing, stations going dark, but most delegates dismissed them. They assumed technical failures, not realizing that these were signs of something far greater. On a quiet planet near the outer rim, Claire Bennett, a civilian analyst from a minor species, noticed a pattern. Relay stations along trade routes had stopped transmitting at exactly the same time. Supply ships vanished without distress calls. The pattern was too precise to be coincidence. She tried to alert her superiors, but they laughed. "Humans cannot act this fast," one said. "They are only diplomats. They talk, they negotiate, they complain, that is all." Claire frowned. She knew better, but no one would listen. Back on Earth, Ben Holloway watched reports from across the galaxy. He did not smile or laugh, he only nodded. "They will learn," he said. "They think humanity is predictable. They think patience is weakness. We will see who is weak when they are caught off guard." Jake Carter stood on the observation deck of the main human fleet command center, looking out at the stars. To the casual observer, the view was beautiful, peaceful, but Jake saw opportunity, potential, and power. Humanity's fleets were not yet in position, but every crew, every ship, every plan was aligned for the moment when they would move. "They expect words," he murmured. "We will give them action." Days turned into weeks. Earth's fleet slipped silently into space beyond mapped sectors. Alien patrols detected nothing. Humans moved with discipline and coordination, communicating through encrypted channels that no alien technology could intercept. The galaxy continued to celebrate Earth's exile, unaware that humanity had already begun a plan that could change everything. In the council chambers, delegates continued their debates. "We have removed the threat," one said confidently. "They cannot act against us now," another added. "We have laws, we have rules, humans will follow them." Their confidence was complete, their arrogance total. Aaron Cole stood on the bridge of a cruiser, watching distant stars shift as they entered uncharted territory. "Patience," he said. "Patience is our ally. We will strike only when it matters most. Until then, we wait." The humans on the fleet shared quiet moments, talking about home, about families, about the life they were defending. No one spoke of glory, no one spoke of conquest. Their mission was clear: show the galaxy that humans could not be dismissed, that humans were powerful, disciplined, and ready. In orbit around the first outer rim system, scouts sent back images of alien fleets, confident and unprepared. Automated sensors recorded their movements, tactics, and weaknesses. The humans analyzed every detail, ensuring that when the moment came, they could act with precision that no one could match. On Earth, civilians continued their lives, unaware of the vast armada silently preparing to defend them. Schools, factories, and cities thrived. Technology advanced in quiet, purposeful ways. Humanity's strength was growing not through fear, but through readiness, intelligence, and unity. Back in the council chamber, alien delegates relaxed, certain of their victory. They did not suspect that their own predictions were the very trap they had walked into. They assumed humans would talk, would negotiate, would comply. They did not see the silence, the preparation, the fleet that waited beyond the stars. Jake Carter stood one last time on the observation deck of the command center, looking at the assembled fleet. Ships of every class, armed, ready, and disciplined, reflected the light of distant suns. He felt no excitement, no fear, only resolve. Humanity had waited for this moment. The galaxy had underestimated them. Aaron Cole placed a hand on his shoulder. "Soon," he said simply. "Soon they will see us as we truly are," Jake nodded. "And when they do, they will know that talking was never our only option." The human fleet, quiet and unseen, moved onward through the dark, endless space. The galaxy celebrated Earth's exile, blind to the fact that humanity's true response was only beginning. Patience had been humanity's weapon, and now it had reached its final hour. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter for the humans as they approached the outer systems, ready to demonstrate that words were not always the measure of power. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the council, alien leaders whispered to one another, unaware that the humans they dismissed were already moving in ways no one had predicted. The galaxy had judged humanity, and humanity had accepted. But in that acceptance lay a quiet, terrifying promise. Humans did not just talk. Humans acted. And when they acted, the universe would see the full measure of their strength. Months passed since the Council had exiled Earth. The galaxy believed humans were quiet, obedient, and powerless. Most species went about their lives as if Earth's punishment had removed all threat. Trade routes flowed, colonies expanded, and fleets patrolled without concern. Yet in the dark reaches of space, unseen by anyone, humanity's fleet continued to grow and move, disciplined and precise. Aaron Cole stood on the bridge of one of the cruisers, scanning a system that the Council had considered safe. The stars blinked coldly, distant, and indifferent, but he could read the invisible lines of power that stretched through the sector. "No signs of patrols," he said. "Perfect." Around him, officers nodded, their movements silent, almost automatic. Every ship followed a strict formation, every crew member ready for action at a moment's notice. On the outer rim, Claire Bennett continued her observations. She had been watching anomalies for months, and the pattern had grown too clear to ignore. Ships were disappearing, stations went dark, supply lines vanished, all in systems far from human space. She tried again to alert the Council's analysts. "Something is moving," she said. "I do not know what, but these are not accidents." Her warnings were dismissed once more. "Humans cannot act like this," one analyst said. "They are too small, too isolated. Your observations are wrong." Claire frowned, frustrated, but she did not stop. She recorded every disappearance, every unusual movement, knowing that someone someday would notice the truth. Back on the human fleet, Jake Carter met with Ben Holloway and Aaron Cole. Holographic displays showed the positions of human fleets relative to alien systems. "They still think we are weak," Ben said, his voice calm but firm. "They still believe in their rules, their traditions, their sense of order. That is their mistake." Jake nodded. "We have patience," he said. "They think patience is weakness. We will prove that it is strategy." He tapped a point on the map. "We start with the outer rim systems. Take control quietly, remove threats without alarming the galaxy. The first impression must be that we are precise and unstoppable." Aaron smiled slightly. "Precision is what they will remember. We do not need to destroy everything. Just show them that humans act when it matters." The first strike was small, nearly invisible. Automated mining stations on the edge of a star system suddenly went dark. Supply convoys vanished without a trace. Alien species noticed, of course, but they assumed accidents. Mechanical failures, piracy. No one imagined humans could be responsible. Reports trickled into council offices, but the analysts could not connect the dots. Humanity moved like a shadow, unseen but fully prepared. Inside the fleet, exercises continued as if nothing had happened. Crews ran drills, practiced maneuvers, and tested weapon systems. Every officer knew the plan. Every soldier knew their role. They were not just fighting for survival. They were showing that humans could think, plan, and act faster than any alien doctrine allowed. On a distant planet, an alien admiral named Vorin stared at a holographic map. He was responsible for the defense of several outer rim systems. "There are disturbances," he muttered, frowning. "Several stations have gone offline. Convoys have vanished." "I cannot explain it," his aides tried to reassure him. "It is probably technical faults or sabotage among your own ranks," one said. "The humans are far away. They cannot act so quickly." Vorin shook his head, but a seed of unease had taken root. Meanwhile, humans on the fleet were already deep in the sector. Small squads of ships moved silently, observing enemy patrols and learning their routines. They avoided unnecessary conflict, taking only what was needed. Jake Carter walked along the bridge of the command cruiser, watching the screens that displayed every movement. He felt no excitement, only calm focus. "They believe in their rules," he said. "They believe that every action is predictable. That is why we will succeed." In one system, a small alien convoy was destroyed almost without warning. The ships had been abandoned, their crews captured and released far from the system. No cities were harmed. No colonies were threatened. The humans acted like judges, removing threats with precision and leaving the galaxy to puzzle over what had happened. News spread slowly, distorted by confusion. Pirates, some whispered. Malfunction, others guessed. No one imagined that humanity had taken its first deliberate steps into the galaxy. Claire Bennett continued her work. She had begun connecting the dots. Patterns of disappearance, strange orbital anomalies, unusual fleet activity, it all pointed to one possibility. "It is them," she whispered. "It has to be humans," her colleagues laughed. "Impossible," they said. "They are too isolated, they cannot have moved so quickly. The humans only talk." On the human command cruiser, Aaron Cole monitored alien communications. He noted the panic in some sectors, the confusion in others. Humans did not need to strike further. The fear of the unknown, the sense that someone was acting with intelligence and precision, was spreading faster than any fleet could. He smiled faintly. "They do not even see us," he said, "and yet they feel the weight of what we are." Jake Carter met with his officers in a secure chamber. "The Outer Rim is the first lesson," he said. "They think humans are weak. They will learn otherwise." The officers nodded. Every decision was deliberate, every movement controlled. Humanity did not act in anger or fear. They acted with purpose. In one small system, a scout ship discovered an alien fleet preparing to respond to the disturbances. The fleet was confident, thinking it had located the human source. It moved quickly, only to find empty space. The humans had anticipated every move, positioned their ships elsewhere, and waited. The alien commanders could not understand how their plans were failing. Their doctrines, based on centuries of experience, were ineffective against humans who did not follow expected patterns. Back on Earth, Ben Holloway monitored the operations. He watched reports of alien confusion, of fleets chasing shadows, of systems emptying their patrols in frustration. "They are clever," he said. "They cannot see the full picture. That is our advantage. We do not need brute force. We need control, patience, and precision." Jake Carter stood at the observation deck once more, looking at the stars. "They believed humanity would only talk," he said softly. "We have shown them otherwise. We are not just words. We are action, and they will learn to respect that." As human fleets moved through the sectors, they observed alien defenses carefully. Every patrol route, every defensive station, every communication network was analyzed. Humans were not reckless. They acted when necessary and always with strategy. No civilian targets were harmed. No colony was destroyed. The humans were proving a new rule. Strength was not measured by fear or brutality, but by skill, discipline, and intelligence. In one remote system, an alien admiral, Vorin, finally realized the scope of the human fleet's movement. His face went pale as he reviewed the data. Ships he thought were scattered were instead moving in perfect formation across several sectors. He tried to alert the Council, but messages were delayed and fragmented. The humans had already advanced too far. His panic grew, and for the first time he considered that humans were not predictable, not negotiable, and not to be underestimated. Claire Bennett finally presented her findings to a small council committee. "It is happening," she said. "Humans are moving. They are using tactics we cannot understand. They are not talking. They are acting. If this continues, it will change everything." Some members listened, others ignored her, convinced that humans could not achieve such a feat. But a few quietly began to investigate, sensing the first real sign of danger. Meanwhile, human crews worked tirelessly. They ran simulations, checked systems, and coordinated movements across hundreds of light years. Every officer understood the mission: control, restraint, efficiency. They did not seek destruction for its own sake. They sought to teach the galaxy a lesson it would not forget. Aaron Cole walked along the corridors of the cruiser. He passed crew members who worked in silence, focused on their duties. He felt no pride, no arrogance, only calm. Humanity was not acting for glory. They acted for survival, for respect, and to establish their place in the galaxy. When the moment came to be seen, their actions would speak louder than any words. In the Outer Rim, alien fleets scrambled to respond to disturbances, but they moved like children chasing shadows. They expected humans to negotiate, to plead, to follow rules they themselves had made. Instead, They found empty space, silent systems, and a precision that defied centuries of experience. The galaxy was beginning to feel the first ripple of fear. Back on the human command cruiser, Jake Carter reviewed the results. "They do not understand," he said. "They think we are small. They think we obey. They do not see the patience, the preparation, the discipline. That is our advantage. That is why we will win respect without unnecessary violence." Aaron Cole joined him. "The next steps are ready," he said. "We will extend our reach, move closer to the core worlds, and show them that humans do not need to talk to be heard." Jake nodded. "They assumed talking was our only power. Soon they will learn that action, strategy, and unity are just as human and far more effective." The fleets continued their silent movement, precise and unstoppable. Stars passed by as humans moved deeper into the galaxy, unseen but fully prepared. Alien systems scrambled, but the humans had already planned every response. The galaxy had assumed weakness, but humans had prepared strength. And somewhere, Claire Bennett continued her watch, realizing finally that humanity was no longer a subject of discussion. Humans were now the force others had underestimated. The lesson had only begun, and the ripple of fear, respect, and awe was spreading faster than any fleet could travel. Humanity had begun to act. The galaxy had expected words. It had received something far greater. The outer rim had fallen silent after the initial human strikes, but the galaxy still did not understand what was happening. Alien fleets had regrouped, trying to piece together the pattern, but humans had already moved too far ahead. Reports of missing ships, disabled stations, and vanished convoys had reached the Council, and panic began to spread. No one expected humans to be capable of such coordinated action, not even the most intelligent species. Jake Carter stood on the bridge of the command cruiser, watching holographic displays of distant star systems. The fleet had moved closer to the inner systems, positioning themselves near key trade and defense routes. The humans had calculated every step, anticipated every response, and acted with precision that alien forces could not comprehend. "They think the outer rim was an accident," Jake said. "They will see the real strategy soon." Aaron Cole walked beside him. "They still do not understand our rules," he said. "We do not attack for pride, we do not attack for revenge, we act with discipline. That is why our moves are unstoppable." Crew members around them worked silently, adjusting formations, monitoring sensors, and preparing the fleet for the next phase. Every action was deliberate, every movement coordinated. In a command room on a neutral station, alien admirals argued over the reports. Vorin, still pale from the outer rim losses, slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This cannot be human," he said. "No species can act so fast, so precisely. They are not negotiating. They are not warning, they are taking control." Other admirals shook their heads. "Humans are small, their fleet is limited. This is only the outer rim, they cannot threaten core systems." Vorin's eyes narrowed. "We have underestimated them," he whispered. For the first time, fear crept into his voice. Back on the human fleet, small squadrons moved in silence. They avoided populated worlds, focusing instead on disabling military installations and key defense stations. Ships that had once been considered secure were now vulnerable. Alien commanders found that their centuries-old tactics failed against humans who thought differently. Humans did not follow expectations, did not rely on brute force, and did not allow emotions to dictate actions. Every strike was measured, calculated, and precise. In one system, Luke Mason, a young human fleet officer, led a squadron to disable a defensive network. He watched as alien turrets failed to respond, as ships were cut off from communication, and as stations went dark without civilian casualties. "They do not even know we are here," he said quietly over the comms. "We are ghosts." His squadron moved with fluid precision, like shadows passing between the stars. On a nearby planet, Claire Bennett continued her analysis. She had finally begun to see the full scale of human movement. "This is not simple raiding," she whispered. "This is strategy, coordination, patience. Humans are reshaping the galaxy without anyone realizing it." Her colleagues were stunned. "You cannot be sure," one said. Claire shook her head. We have underestimated them for centuries. They do not only talk, they act." Meanwhile, the human fleet began targeting central communication hubs. These hubs were critical for coordinating defenses between the inner rim and core systems. Humans disabled them with minimal force, ensuring that alien ships could not organize effectively. Alien commanders panicked as their messages went unanswered, fleets moved blindly, and defensive networks collapsed. Every move by the humans was precise, surgical, and efficient. Jake Carter observed the operations from the flagship. They expected fear to slow us, he said. They expected hesitation, negotiation, and weakness. They got discipline, patience, and strategy. Ben Holloway joined him. They will learn quickly, Ben said. When humans act, they do so with control. That is the difference. In another sector, alien fleets attempted to intercept human movements. They formed lines, deployed traps, and waited for a human mistake. But humans had anticipated these tactics weeks before. Automated decoys, rapid repositioning, and synchronized fleet movements ensured that no ship was ever caught off guard. Alien commanders watched helplessly as their decades of experience failed. Aaron Cole monitored the fleet's progress, noting every success and every obstacle. "We must maintain control," he said. "Our power is in restraint, not in chaos. Every strike, every maneuver, every decision must serve the strategy. Humans do not act randomly. Humans act with purpose." In orbit around a heavily fortified system, the humans launched a controlled operation. Alien defenses were strong, but human strategy was stronger. Ships moved in coordinated waves, disabling turrets, blocking escape routes, and cutting communications. The fleet acted almost invisibly, leaving no civilian casualties, no unnecessary destruction, only the unmistakable message that humans were a force that could not be ignored. Inside the flagship, Jake Carter watched the alien commanders' reactions. Their panic was evident even through intercepted communications. They did not understand why their formations failed, why their defenses collapsed, why humans could move so unpredictably yet so efficiently. "They have never seen discipline like this," Jake said softly. "They have never seen humans act without fear, without hesitation, without ego." On Earth, civilians remained unaware of the fleet's activities. Life continued as normal. Schools, workplaces, and cities thrived while the humans executed a plan that would reshape the galaxy. This contrast between ordinary life and extraordinary power was intentional. Humanity did not need fear to rule. They needed respect. And respect could be gained through action, not destruction. Vorin and his advisors finally realized the scale of the threat. Entire outer systems had been taken without warning. Central communication hubs were disabled. Patrols were gone. The humans were not only attacking, they were controlling the battlefield. "We misjudged them," Vorin admitted. "They are not like any species we have faced. They do not follow rules. They do not talk. They act, and they act faster than we can respond." Luke Mason's squadron moved to a new target, a heavily defended orbital station. Sensors showed the alien forces moving into position, expecting a traditional assault. Luke smiled faintly. "They think we will fight their way," he said. "They do not know we have already won by thinking differently." The squadron disabled the station's defenses in minutes. No ships were destroyed, no lives lost. Only the station was neutralized, leaving aliens stunned and confused. Aaron Cole reviewed reports from multiple systems. "The core worlds are next," he said. "They will see that humans do not negotiate under threat. They will see that humans are precise, patient, and unstoppable when necessary." Jake Carter walked along the observation deck, looking at the fleet. "They expected humans to talk," he said. "They expected speeches, negotiations, and pleas. Instead, they received action. And action is far more convincing than words." In the core systems, alien fleets scrambled in panic. They sent messages to the Council, but communication lines were broken or delayed. They could not understand the human movements, could not anticipate their strategy, and could not find a pattern to exploit. Fear began to spread, not from loss of life, but from loss of control. Humanity had shown that it could act faster, smarter, and more efficiently than any other species. Claire Bennett watched from her station, unable to believe the reports she was receiving. "They are moving into the core," she said aloud. "They are not just defending. They are teaching the galaxy a lesson. Humans do not only talk, humans act." Her colleagues stared at her, realization dawning slowly. "We underestimated them for centuries," she whispered, "and now we will pay the price." Back on the human flagship, Ben Holloway and Jake Carter reviewed the progress. Entire sectors were under controlled human influence. Alien fleets had been neutralized without unnecessary loss of life. Systems had been stabilized under human direction. The galaxy began to realize that humans were not chaotic, not reckless, and not unpredictable in a bad way. They were precise, disciplined, and intelligent beyond the expectations of anyone who had ever underestimated them. In one remote sector, alien admirals held emergency meetings. "They move faster than we can respond," one said. "Their fleet is small compared to ours, yet they control entire systems. How is this possible?" Vorin spoke quietly, fear in his voice. "We did not understand their patience. We did not understand their intelligence. We assumed they would only talk. That was our mistake. The humans do not talk, they act. And when they act, they are unstoppable." Luke Mason's squadron completed its operation and returned to the fleet. "Every strike was precise," he reported. "No civilians harmed, no unnecessary destruction. The message is clear. We are here and we are not to be underestimated." Aaron Cole nodded. "Exactly," he said. "Every move, every decision, every action is part of the lesson. Humans are not just survivors. Humans are leaders, strategists, and warriors when needed. They will learn that words are not always enough." Jake Carter looked out at the stars, calm and collected. "They believed humanity would talk," he said. "They thought diplomacy was our only weapon. They were wrong. We do not need speeches to command respect. We do not need threats to ensure peace. We act, and our actions speak louder than any words ever could." As the fleet advanced toward the core systems, alien fleets struggled to regroup. Communication breakdowns, disrupted patrols, and confusion slowed their response. Humans moved with discipline, taking what was necessary, leaving no unnecessary destruction, and always maintaining control. The galaxy began to see a species it had underestimated for centuries. Claire Bennett continued to track the progress, recording every anomaly and movement. She realized that humanity had rewritten the rules of engagement without firing a single indiscriminate shot. The galaxy was beginning to fear humans not because of violence, but because of intelligence, strategy, and patience. Jake Carter walked among the crew, observing their focus and calm. Every officer understood the mission, every soldier executed their orders precisely. Humans did not need to talk to be heard. They did not need to threaten to be respected. Their actions alone demonstrated power, discipline, and foresight. Aaron Cole stood beside him. "The next stage will show them the full scope of human strategy," he said. "They believed humans were weak. They will see that humans are strong, disciplined, and unstoppable when necessary." The fleet moved forward, deeper into the galaxy. Alien systems scrambled, but humans were always ahead. Every movement, every strike, every decision was calculated, precise, and controlled. The galaxy had assumed weakness, but humans had shown that patience, intelligence, and action were more powerful than words alone. And somewhere in the heart of the council, alien leaders whispered to each other, their fear growing. The humans they had dismissed as mere diplomats had become something else entirely. They did not talk, they acted. And the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The core systems were in chaos. Alien fleets scrambled desperately to respond to the human advance, but every move they made was anticipated. Entire sectors had been stabilized by humans without unnecessary destruction. Alien commanders had realized too late that they had underestimated a species they thought would only talk. Now, humans acted, and their precision was unmatched. Jake Carter stood on the bridge of the flagship, observing the outer reaches of the central systems. Holographic maps showed alien fleets scattered, their coordination broken. The humans had disabled communications, blocked reinforcements, and secured key positions without harming civilians. "They still do not understand," he said softly. "They thought humans would negotiate, plead, or obey. They did not realize our power lies in discipline, patience, and strategy." Aaron Cole joined him, leaning on the railing. "The moment has come," he said. "We are close enough to show them that humans are not a species to dismiss. They will listen, not because they want to, but because they have no choice." Crew members moved quietly around them, adjusting formations and monitoring alien movements. Every action was deliberate, every detail considered. On a neutral observation station, alien leaders convened an emergency meeting. Vorin's face was pale, his claws tapping nervously on the table. "This is no longer outer rim problems," he said. "They are at the core, disabling defenses, cutting communications, and controlling fleets. How is this possible? Humans are supposed to talk, to negotiate, to obey. They are doing none of these things. Another admiral spoke, voice trembling. We cannot fight them the way we always have. Their strategy is unlike anything we know. Fear spread through the room like a cold wind. Back on Earth, Ben Holloway monitored the operations with calm focus. He saw the confusion spreading through the galaxy and knew it was exactly the effect humans had planned. They assumed fear would work, he said. They assumed humans would argue or beg. Instead, they are learning discipline, intelligence, and action. That is how humans earn respect. Human squadrons moved closer to critical alien capitals. Ships glided through space like shadows, positioning themselves with perfect timing. Alien defenses were ready for conventional attacks, expecting violence and chaos, but humans acted differently. They disabled weapons systems, blocked reinforcements, and forced fleets into positions that made them ineffective. The humans controlled the battlefield without unnecessary bloodshed. Luke Mason led a squadron to a major communication hub. Sensors detected alien ships converging to defend it. Luke smiled faintly. They believe in brute force, he said over the comms. They do not understand that precision, patience, and control are stronger than numbers. His squadron moved, cutting off communications and neutralizing defenses. Within minutes, the hub was under human control, fully functional, but inaccessible to the alien fleets. Alien commanders watched helplessly, unable to coordinate. Claire Bennett continued tracking the human advance from a neutral observation post. They are at the core, she said quietly. Entire fleets are under control. Communications are blocked. Humans are not destroying systems, but they are in complete command. The galaxy has never seen this before. Her colleagues were stunned, struggling to comprehend the speed and intelligence of human strategy. On the flagship, Jake Carter reviewed the results. Entire systems had been stabilized. Alien fleets were scattered, confused, and unable to act effectively. Humans had achieved more through planning, patience, and precise action than any alien species could with brute force. They thought humans were small and weak, he said. Now they see that humans act when necessary, and that action is smarter than any negotiation. Aaron Cole nodded. The Council has no choice now, he said. They will have to recognize human power and accept the rules we set. They assumed weakness, but we have shown strength. Not through destruction, but through intelligence and discipline. Jake walked along the observation deck, looking at the fleet. Ships of every size and class moved with perfect coordination. Crew members worked tirelessly, maintaining systems, monitoring movements, and preparing for the Council's response. Humanity did not strike for glory. Humanity struck for survival, respect, and fairness. Every move reinforced the lesson that humans were not a species to be dismissed. The Alien Council finally sent a delegation to negotiate. They arrived in a neutral system, expecting diplomacy but fearing the unknown. Jake Carter and Aaron Cole greeted them aboard the flagship. Alien leaders were pale, tense, and uncertain. They had watched human actions and realized the truth. Humanity could not be ignored, underestimated, or dismissed. Jake spoke first, his voice calm and firm. You assumed humans would talk. You assumed we would obey your rules. You were wrong. We acted because your rules threatened our survival and dignity. We do not ask for permission. We enforce fairness. We protect ourselves and others. That is how humans operate. Alien leaders listened, stunned by the clarity and authority of his words. Aaron Cole stepped forward. We are not here to conquer. We are here to ensure that future conflicts are fair, that weaker species are protected, and that no council can act without accountability. Humans act decisively, yes, but we act with purpose, intelligence, and restraint. That is the difference. Voron stepped forward, his claws trembling slightly. We did not believe it was possible, he admitted. We assumed your species would only negotiate. We did not see your strategy, your discipline, your strength. We underestimated humans. Jake shook his head slightly. Underestimating humanity is a mistake no species should make again. We do not seek war. We seek respect and fairness. We have the power to enforce it, and we will if necessary. That is our rule now. The alien delegation realized that the humans had proven their point. Entire systems had been stabilized, fleets were controlled, and the Council could not ignore the fact that humanity acted faster, smarter, and more effectively than any species expected. Humans had not destroyed worlds, they had not killed innocents, yet their actions spoke louder than words. Back on Earth, civilians went about their daily lives, unaware of the full scale of the operations. Schools continued, cities thrived, and families lived peacefully. The contrast between ordinary life and extraordinary power was intentional. Humanity had shown that strength did not require fear or destruction. Strength could come from discipline, intelligence, and action. In a final move, the human fleet positioned itself near the central council chambers. Ships formed a ring not to attack, but to ensure compliance. Alien fleets were scattered, communication networks disrupted, and key systems were under human control. The message was clear. Humans could act when necessary, and their action was precise, disciplined, and unstoppable. Jake Carter addressed the council through a secure channel. "You exiled Earth assuming we would talk, plead, or obey. You assumed humanity could be ignored. We have acted, you have seen the result. The galaxy will follow rules that are fair, or humanity will act again. Respect, intelligence, and action are the new measures of authority." Aaron Cole added, "We do not seek domination, we do not seek revenge. We enforce fairness, protect the weak, and ensure that no council can abuse its power. We act decisively because action speaks louder than words. That is humanity's strength." Voren and other council members realized the truth. Humans had not relied on threats or fear. They had relied on discipline, patience, and intelligence. Their actions had reshaped the galaxy without unnecessary violence. The council had no choice but to acknowledge human authority and accept the new rules. Claire Bennett, observing the final negotiations, recorded every detail. She whispered to herself, "Humans do not just talk, they act. And when they act, the galaxy cannot ignore them." Her colleagues nodded slowly, finally understanding that humanity had rewritten the rules of engagement, not through destruction, but through intelligence, strategy, and discipline. Back on the flagship, Jake Carter and Aaron Cole watched the council's response. Alien fleets began to retreat. Systems returned to normal under human guidance, and order was restored. Humanity had demonstrated that patience and strategy were more powerful than brute force. They had enforced fairness without unnecessary destruction, proving that humans were a species capable of action, intelligence, and leadership. Luke Mason returned from his squadron, reporting successful stabilization of multiple core systems. "All operations completed," he said. "No civilians harmed, systems functional, alien fleets under control." Aaron Cole nodded. "This is the final lesson," he said. "Humanity does not need to talk to command respect. Action, discipline, and intelligence are stronger than words alone." Jake Carter looked out at the fleet, calm and proud. "They believed humans would talk," he said. "We have shown them otherwise. They now know that humans act when necessary, that humans enforce fairness, and that humans cannot be underestimated. That is the legacy of our patience and strategy." The galaxy had learned a new lesson. Humans were not merely negotiators. Humans were disciplined, intelligent, and decisive. They had acted with precision, reshaping systems, controlling fleets, and enforcing fairness without unnecessary violence. The Alien Council had no choice but to recognize humanity's authority, respect their discipline, and accept the new rules. On Earth, life continued. Children played, families laughed, and cities thrived. The humans who had acted across the galaxy returned quietly to their routines, their heroism invisible but undeniable. Strength had been shown, respect earned, and the galaxy had learned that humanity did not only talk, it acted when action was needed. Jake Carter and Aaron Cole stood on the observation deck of the flagship one final time. The fleet had completed its mission. Systems were stabilized. Alien fleets had been humbled not through destruction, but through intelligence, discipline, and restraint. Humanity had proven that words were not the only measure of power. Actions, when guided by patience and strategy, spoke far louder. Aaron Cole smiled faintly. "They believed humanity would talk," he said. "Now they know humans act, and when humans act, the galaxy cannot ignore them." Jake nodded. "And they never will again." The stars stretched endlessly beyond the observation deck, silent witnesses to humanity's triumph. The fleet moved home, quiet and disciplined, leaving the galaxy forever changed. Humanity had acted. The galaxy had listened. Respect had been earned. The Council would never forget the lesson. Humanity was no longer just a talking species. Humanity was a force that acted with intelligence, precision, and patience, and the universe had learned that underestimating humans was the greatest mistake any species could make.